Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading back to the Triassic period, a time of, massive change after that crazy extinction event, the Permian extinction. We're talking like the biggest extinction Earth has ever seen, right?
Oh, absolutely. Devastation on a scale that's hard to even imagine. We're talking almost all life gone, wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Leaves you with a pretty, a pretty bleak picture, doesn't it? A silent world, pretty much empty. But, that's what makes the Triassic so fascinating. You see life like clawing its way back. Talk about resilience.
Yeah, and I always think of, dinosaurs when I think of the Triassic, but it sounds like we need to broaden our perspective a bit, right?
Definitely. Dinosaurs are definitely part of the story, but to really grasp the Triassic, we need to dig into the archosaurs. They're the ancestors of both dinos and crocs. And one of the things that really gave them an edge was their diapsid skull.
Diapsid skull, huh? Okay, remind me why that was such a big deal.
Sure. Basically, it means they had two holes behind their eye sockets. I know it might not sound that revolutionary, but trust me, it was. Stronger jaw muscles, a more powerful bite. Huge advantage, especially for predators.
Ah, okay, so stronger bite, better hunter, better hunter. Well, better chances of survival, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing how these seemingly small differences in anatomy can have these, huge ripple effects through evolution.
Totally. And another thing about archosaurs, their posture. They stood upright, legs directly beneath their bodies, completely different from the sprawling reptiles that came before them.
Right, so not that lizard-like sprawl, more, I guess, like a dinosaur, right? I imagine that made them much more efficient, like in terms of moving around.
Exactly. More efficient hunting. More efficient escape, too, if you needed to get away from a predator. Definitely a recipe for success.
But even within the archosaurs, there were, I guess, like different branches, right? One leading to dinos, the other to crocs. See, I always picture the Triassic as, the age of dinosaurs, but it sounds like, uh, that's not the whole story.
Yeah, the classic image, right? Dinosaurs ruling the Triassic. Well, dinos did emerge in the Triassic, that's true. But the real stars of the show, the ones who really dominated, were the other branch, the pseudosuchines.
Pseudosuchines. I, I got to be honest, that name doesn't quite have the same ring to it as like Tyrannosaurus rex. So who are these guys?
Think of them as, maybe like the less famous cousins of the dinosaurs, but don't let that fool you. They were incredibly successful and diverse too. We're talking everything from small, agile predators to these like massive herbivores, some with heavy armor, the whole 9 yards.
Well, instead of dinosaurs stomping around, we've got these crocodile-like creatures ruling the roost. Wow, that really changes the picture, doesn't it?
For sure. It's a good reminder that evolution doesn't always take, a straight, predictable path. The Triassic is full of these twists and turns, and the pseudosuchians, well, they're a perfect example of that.
Okay, so we've got this world recovering from a mass extinction. The archosaurs are on the rise, and the pseudosuchians are, it sounds like they're calling the shots. What else happened during the Triassic? Anything, anything dramatic?
Oh, yeah, plenty of drama. For starters, there was this massive climate event, the Carnian Pluvial episode. We're talking millions of years of intense rainfall. Imagine like a Triassic mega monsoon.
Wow, a mega monsoon. That's going to leave a mark. So what caused this climate chaos?
Well, there are a couple of main theories. One is that it all comes down to Pangaea, that supercontinent. The idea is that this giant landmass really messed with global atmospheric circulation, leading to, these huge shifts in weather patterns.
So one giant continent equals climate chaos. Makes sense. What's the other theory?
Volcanoes,
Yeah.
massive eruptions both on land and under the sea, spewing out tons of greenhouse gases. You know the drill. Warning, changes in rainfall, the whole shebang.
Right. Volcanoes. Always up to no good. So, regardless of the cause, this mega monsoon, it had to have a huge impact, right? Both on land and in the oceans.
Absolutely. We're talking a major shakeup on land. Some areas became much drier. And in the oceans, all that freshwater runoff really messed with marine ecosystems.
So a lot of change, a lot of stress on life, I guess. How did all of this affect those archosaurs we were talking about? Both the dinosaurs and the pseudosuchians.
Well, seems like those drier conditions, they might have actually helped the pseudosuchians. They were already pretty adaptable, comfortable in a wider range of environments than those early dinosaurs. So this shift, this drying trend, it might have just, cemented their dominance, given them even more of an edge.
So picture this.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs still kind of finding their footing, still evolving, and meanwhile, their crocodile cousins are out there thriving, taking advantage of this changing world.
Crazy, right? It really flips the script on how we usually imagine the Triassic. It does, doesn't it? And it's a good point to remember. The Triassic wasn't just, one long static scene. Things were changing constantly. Climate, life, everything in flux.
And not all those changes were, slow and gradual, right? We talked about that Carnian Pluvial episode,
Yeah.
that mega monsoon. But the Triassic, it actually ended with another extinction event, didn't it?
It did, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction. And yeah, just like the Permian extinction that kicked things off, this was a turning point, a major reset for life on Earth.
What caused this one? Was it volcanoes again?
You got it. Volcanoes, center stage. This time it was the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province.
Yeah.
Basically, a series of just massive eruptions, lava flows, gas releases, devastation on a global scale.
So imagine like wildfires raging everywhere. The atmosphere choked with volcanic gases,
Yeah.
oceans turning acidic. Not a very friendly environment, I'd say.
No, not at all. A true ecological disaster. And a lot of those dominant pseudosuchines, they didn't make it.
Wow. So even at the top of the food chain, even when you're ruling the world, you're not immune to these catastrophic events. It really makes you think, doesn't it, about how fragile life can be.
It does. Humbling, isn't it? But here's the thing, just like with the Permian extinction, this ending, it also created new opportunities, new possibilities for other groups to step in, to take over.
And I'm guessing this is where the dinosaurs finally get their chance, right? Their time in the spotlight.
Exactly. The Triassic-Jurassic extinction, it cleared the playing field, so to speak, opened up space for dinosaurs to diversify, to evolve into the icons, the giants, the creatures we all, know and love today.
It's incredible, these extinctions, they're almost like reset buttons, just completely changing the course of evolution. Who knows what would happen if those events hadn't wiped the slate clean, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a mind-boggling thought, and to really grasp the rise of the dinosaurs, their ultimate success. I mean, we got to go back to their beginnings, back to the Triassic.
So what were those early dinosaurs like? I mean, were they already showing signs of, the giants they would become? Were they already stomping around, shaking the ground?
Not quite. Those early dinosaurs, they were pretty small actually. Some no bigger than a chicken. Definitely different from their pseudosuchian cousins for sure, but not the dominant force they would eventually become. Not yet.
So for most of the Triassic, dinosaurs were basically living in the shadow of these larger, more diverse pseudosuchians. Huh. It's a good reminder that even the most successful groups, they all start somewhere.
That's true. Evolution, it's full of surprises, right?
Okay.
The underdogs, the seemingly insignificant, they're often the ones who go on to achieve incredible things.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about life on land. But what about the oceans? What was happening beneath the waves during the Triassic?
Oh, the oceans were teeming with life, just like the continents. It was a real boom time for marine reptiles. Incredible diversification.
So what kind of creatures were ruling the waves back then? Anything like those giant marine reptiles we see later on in the Jurassic and Cretaceous?
One of the most successful groups, definitely the ichthyosaurs. Streamlined fish-shaped reptiles, perfectly adapted for that open ocean life.
Ichthyosaurs, huh? They sound kind of like the dolphins of the Triassic, right? Sleek, fast, predatory.
That's a great analogy. They had these powerful tails for propulsion, and their limbs, they had evolved into flippers for steering. Incredibly efficient swimmers, playing on fish, squid, you name it.
So while the dinosaurs were, still figuring things out on land, the ichthyosaurs were already out there, ruling the oceans. It's amazing how evolution was playing out, on such different scales and such different environments.
It is, isn't it? It really highlights the power of adaptation, life's ability to fill all sorts of niches. And alongside the ichthyosaurs, there was another group, the nothos.
Nothosaurs. Now, those are new to me. Tell me more about them.
They were a bit more enigmatic, I'd say, than the ichthyosaurs. They had these long necks, long tails, and their limbs, well, they were still kind of leg-like, suggesting they could, move around on land as well as in the water.
Ah, so a bit of a hybrid, huh? Comfortable in both worlds. What kind of lifestyle did they lead?
We think they probably spent a lot of time in shallow coastal waters, using those webbed feet to paddle around in their long necks to snatch up fish, other small creatures.
So like a prehistoric ambush predator, just lurking in the shallows, waiting for its chance. It's incredible how all these different groups, these marine reptiles, they were all, carving out their own little niches in those Triassic oceans.
Absolutely. And it's another reminder that the Triassic, it wasn't just a dinosaur story. It was a time of incredible experimentation across the board in all these different environments.
And speaking of experimentation, we can't forget about the pterosaurs, right?
Yeah.
Those pioneers of the sky, the first vertebrates to achieve powered flight. Truly remarkable creatures.
They were. And their wings, so different from birds and bats. You know, birds have feathers, bats have skin stretched between their fingers. But pterosaurs, their wings were formed by this membrane of skin stretched from their ankle to this crazy long fourth finger.
Wait, so their whole wing was basically supported by a single super long finger? That's wild. Like something out of science fiction.
It is a pretty remarkable adaptation, and it allowed them to achieve some pretty incredible feats of flight. Some pterosaurs, like Quetzalcoatlus, we're talking wingspans larger than a small airplane.
Whoa. Imagine seeing that thing soaring overhead. Talk about a sight.
It must have been. And the pterosaurs, along with the dinosaurs, the marine reptiles, all those amazing creatures of the Triassic, they paint this picture of a world bursting with life, a world of evolutionary innovation.
It's a shame so much of the diversity was lost in the end Triassic extinction.
Mm.
Really makes you wonder, what other incredible creatures might have evolved if that event hadn't happened.
It's a question that paleontologists, they're still wrestling with. But even though the Triassic ended in cataclysm, it left its mark. I mean, it was a time of recovery, a time of adaptation, and ultimately it set the stage for the rise of a group that would go on to rule the world, the dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about, just how much happened during the Triassic.
Yeah.
From the aftermath of that Permian extinction to the rise of the dinosaurs. It's a period packed with drama, with intrigue, with evolutionary innovation.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? When you zoom out, look at the big picture, Earth's history, I mean, it's all about change, isn't it? Extinctions, climate shifts, evolution, always finding a way. It shaped everything, led to the world we live in today.
Yeah, it's humbling for sure. We're just a small part of this much bigger story, a story that's been it's been going on for billions of years. And who knows, right, what the future holds. But
Yeah.
but at least we can look back, learn from the past, and I don't know, just appreciate this incredible journey, the journey that got us here.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And the thing is, who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered. The fossil record, it's full of mysteries, full of stories, just waiting to be told.
That's what makes paleontology so exciting. It's always changing, always challenging what we thought we knew, and it reveals the beauty, the complexity, the just incredible history of life on Earth.
I couldn't agree more.
So to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep asking questions, never stop learning. The Triassic might be ancient history, but the adventure of paleontology, well, that's still going strong.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another journey back in time.